Hello gamers, welcome to Game Recaps. In this video, I will discuss the storyline of the Ice Cream horror neighborhood game series, whose first series was released on September 27, 2019 and was developed by Kaplarian's Horror Games. I will immediately combine the storyline of this game series from the first series to the third, so that you can find out the whole story in one video. Okay, without further ado, I will immediately discuss the storyline of the Ice Cream game. At the beginning of the game, we are shown a man named Joseph Sullivan, who works as an ice cream maker. Joseph's ice cream is famous for being very tasty and loved by children. So delicious, children often buy ice cream made by Joseph, and most of them are obese because they eat ice cream too often. Joseph sells his homemade ice cream using an ice cream truck and goes around town. Because Joseph's ice cream is famous for being very delicious, many young children are scrambling to buy his ice cream, so the man is a bit overwhelmed serving his other customers. On the other hand, Joseph intends to adopt a child so that later the child can help his business in making and selling ice cream, and Joseph can become a successful entrepreneur who owns the largest ice cream manufacturing factory. Joseph then went to an orphanage and met Sister Madeline, or better known as Evil Nun. Sister Madeline had a son whom she loved very much, named Rod. Having been born without a father, Sister Madeline and the other nuns regard Rod as a miracle. Joseph then adopted Rod, who was then 4 years old. During a visit to an orphanage, Joseph accidentally discovers that Madeline has a book containing a secret formula. Joseph, who thinks that Madeline's formula can help him make the most delicious ice cream in the world, decides to steal the book while taking Rod away from the orphanage. But before leaving, Joseph and Madeline made an agreement, in which the agreement stated that Joseph had to return Rod to Madeline when Rod had reached adulthood. Joseph then agreed to this, even though in reality, he had absolutely no intention of returning Rod to Madeline, because Joseph loves Rod and raises him like his own biological son. After getting Sister Madeline's book, Joseph then researched the secret formulas written in it. Moments later, Joseph was finally able to make ice cream that was tastier than the ice cream he had previously made, so his business grew. Joseph also made special ice cream, which he then kept in the freezer and locked it. Because Rod also often ate his foster father's ice cream, the boy became obese in no time. Joseph also concluded that his ice cream, which was formulated using the secret formula from Sister Madeline's bouquet, must be so delicious that it makes anyone who eats it becomes addicted and continues to eat it regardless of their obese body. Because he has to sell ice cream by driving a truck around town, Joseph is forced to leave Rod to his neighbor, an old woman who has a grandson who is the same age as Rod. Even so, Rod and the grandson didn't get along very well and often fought. Long story short, Rod is now 13 years old and is seen crying in class because he is bullied by his classmates just because he is obese.
Special ice cream, but it's only...
Rod also reveals that he did try his father's special ice cream, which makes him grossly fat. One day, Rod received news that his foster father, Joseph, died tragically in a car accident. Rod, who was devastated to hear the news of his father's sudden death, then locked himself in his house for days. After that, an unknown lady knocked on the door and asked if Rod was at home. The woman then explains that Rod must visit Sister Madeline, who is none other than Rod's mother, at the orphanage, because Madeline can't leave the place before Rod turns 40 or Rod will be killed. After saying this, the mysterious woman then slipped an envelope containing the congratulatory birthday letters that Madeline had written for Rod and left. On the other hand, Sister Madeline seems to miss her son so much that she often imagines herself holding Rod as a baby. Soon after, Sister Madeline possessed a nun to be her slave, by delivering laundry to the children to clean up. After that, Sister Madeline started to capture more children, and putting them in the laundry by sending them fake summer camp notes to lure them in the school. She made them wear uncomfortable masks and left them spare food and tasks to clean up the clothes sent by the nun. 10 years later, Rod is now an adult and works as a chef in a cafeteria, where Rod secretly mixes his own ice cream with the secret formula contained in his mother's book. On the other side, Madeline sends her final congratulatory birthday letter to her son, saying that she'd given up her hopes of her reunion with Rod, and she tells him that she will give him the formula and help him defend himself. After getting the secret formula from his mother, Rod is finally able to make ice cream that is very delicious and makes anyone who tastes it addicted. After that, Rod quit his job and started a business to become an ice cream man. Following in his father's footsteps, Rod begins to murder and freeze kids and turns them into ice cream. He manages to get the machine ready to turn kids fat he received from Sister Madeline, and he starts to test it with human specimens and waits for the secret ingredient. Rod also has plans to recreate Joseph's special ice cream in order to make a living out of ice cream and retrieve his dignity back. The following years, Rod eventually sold his first special ice cream. After that, Rod was surprised to see that all the kids that ate his ice cream became obese, and thinking if he got the right amount of secret ingredient, maybe the ice cream could kill them. On the other hand, Rod killed some of his ex-classmates, including the security guard, by giving them the misfortune to eat some of his poisoned ice creams and died by disappearing forever. After that, Rod starts his terror with ice cream and goes to a residential area where Jay lives, and gives him a special ice cream with a number of secret ingredients needed to kill his victims. Through the window in his room, Jay sees his friend, Charlie, who was kidnapped by Rod while the boy was buying ice cream. Jay did not stay silent and rushed to save his friend. At this point, we will be Jay, who has a mission to save Charlie by solving various puzzles hidden in the house where Rod lives, and also the place where he used to make ice cream. After solving all the puzzles, Jay finally managed to save Charlie and got a blender. On the other hand, Rod was very surprised to learn that the child he had kidnapped had disappeared without a trace. Therefore, Rod returned to the residential area and intended to kidnap again.
I'm going to kill some kids today.
Rod then meets a little girl named Liz, who turns out to be Charlie's sister, where Rod tries to lure Liz with ice cream and gets into his truck. Rod managed to freeze and kidnap the little girl. Meanwhile, Jay, who saw the incident through his bedroom window, rushed downstairs and slipped into Rod's ice cream truck to save Liz. Jay must solve puzzles to get the key he can use to free Liz from captivity. Jay finally managed to free Liz, but the girl didn't want to jump because Liz was afraid she would hurt herself if she jumped from a moving truck. Meanwhile, Charlie is also looking for the whereabouts of his sister, accompanied by his best friend, a boy named Mike. Seeing Liz in the speeding ice cream truck, Mike then chased Liz and threw the perfume bottle that we gave to Mike to retrieve a key to access a drawer in the church and get the cage key. It was revealed that Mike had a crush on Liz in the final scene, as it showed a small letter tied to the perfume bottle which says, "Hi Liz, I love you from the day I first saw you. Do you love me? Yes or no, Mike?" But the perfume bottle fell into the sewer. Charlie and Mike then search for Liz separately. Charlie finally manages to save Liz when the ice cream truck stops somewhere. However, they were soon caught by Rod. Panicked, the two of them immediately ran away and hid. Charlie hid in a nearby cardboard box, while Liz hid herself in the Eagles Junior High School camp behind a bush. But after that, there was no more news from Charlie or Liz, indicating that the two might have been kidnapped by Rod. Knowing that his two friends have been kidnapped by the ice cream man, Jay intends to report the matter to the police. But the boy soon realized that the police would not act without evidence. Therefore, Jay decided to find his friends alone. One day, Rod was humming on his truck until Mike went over to confront him, ordering him to free Liz, though Rod didn't have her in his truck as she had already managed to escape. Rod explains that he doesn't know what he is talking about, but Mike doesn't believe him and threatens to shoot him with his electro gun.
I'm gonna fry your brain with this shotgun.
Rod later cackles and explains that he doesn't remember any names from the kids he kidnapped, and decides to put the special ice cream in his mouth, which quickly turns Mike fat, and he kidnaps Mike. Through the gap in the door, Jay saw the ice cream man who had kidnapped his friend again. Jay rushed to save Mike using Mike's electro gun. Jay then solves a series of puzzles in various memorable places in Rod's life and manages to find the whereabouts of Liz and Charlie. The four friends were finally reunited. They were so happy because they were going home soon. They cheered with joy, which caught Rod's attention. He knew that the hostages were trying to escape. Rod then freezes Mike, Liz, and Charlie and kidnaps them again and takes them to his factory, while Jay manages to escape and is forced to leave his friends. However, Jay found Rod's secret ingredient, which the man accidentally dropped. After returning home, Jay then makes a special ice cream with a blender, milk, and eggs obtained earlier, and also secret ingredients to turn himself into fat so he can be caught by Rod and brought to the factory to save his friends. After that, we can see that Rod takes Jay to his factory, where the guy gets excited and taunts Jay and his friends about how stupid they were, and he finally caught Jay while dragging Jay's cage. When entering the quality control room, Jay's friends were very surprised to see Jay, who was finally caught as well. Rod then told them sarcastically about how they had all been reunited and were able to tell each other stories about their adventures. However, Rod warns them not to be too happy about their reunion, and says that he will take them to the extraction room, where he will squeeze them to death and make the most delicious ice cream of all time out of their bodies. In the game Ice Cream 4, Rod's Factory, there are two endings that we can find, namely the bad ending where Jay will eventually be frozen in Rod's freezer, or he will be taken to the extraction room. However, in the good ending, Jay got rid of Boris, the robot that Rod made to be the security guard for the control room, and freed his friends. But Rod heard them cheering and they all go into tubes, which leads to other places of the factory. The tube Mike went in to let him to the engine room, and the tube Charlie went in to let him into the factory's kitchen. However, the tube Liz went into is still unknown. Jay reunites with Mike and then with Charlie, and now they plan to rescue Liz. Well, that's the whole storyline of the Ice Cream horror neighborhood game series, and also Ice Cream, Rod's Factory. If you have an opinion about this game, please write it in the comments column, and thank you for watching.